Welcome to this best of 5 between Papaya Pete and Vevi. This is from the AOE Norway League, 5th season. I've been hosting those through the last couple of years, let's say so, for the Age of Empires Norway Discord. This season had 2 groups, all competing to reach the final. I think we have 16 in the end. Some people pulled out during the course of the tournament, which is not too uncommon. But in the end we have Papaya Pete in the 1700s rating versus Vevi, who's been, let's say low 1900s, high 1800s currently. He's grinding the 1v1s and climbing the ratings. So we should be favoring Vevi here, but on the other hand, the skill gap isn't that large overall. Some lovely natural obstacles here, making deer luring an absolute headache for Papaya Pete here, but maybe it's just stalling the time to make sure to get the most out of the animal before dropping resources off here. So Papaya Pete with the Burgundians, maybe we'll see the Flemish Revolution at work here at some point. So he's got access to eco upgrades earlier and at one age earlier and at the food discount. Whereas we have a Vevi with the Malay here, 66% faster, advancing through the ages, and he has even more. What's with the deer on this map? Even more trouble luring them. But yeah, it goes through the ages 66% faster, which means that Malay Fast Imp is a legitimate threat on this map. You would be able to get to the Imperial Age in less than 20 minutes if you'd like to, and then you could push forward with powerful Imperial Age units like bombard cannons and Arbalest, for example. The Arbalest, of course, is more expensive, not exactly suitable for a 20-minute Imperial Age, but it is possible on these closed maps to get to that next stage. Look at that stupid deer! Oh, that's kind of smart actually, to push the deer away from the woodline. But that also means that this deer only has one shot away from going down. And there we go. Alright, it's Arena, so it's going to be a bit of a slow start. The first game map pool consisted of Arena, Socotra, Nomad, Arabia, and one more, I believe, Islands. So they had to band down to reach a designated first map here. And Arena is for the first one. Not Papaya Pete's favorite as far as I know, but still a pick. Vevi is a proper sweaty tryhard on any map, so he's gone for the fast feudal age into eco upgrades approach here for the Malay. It makes them competitive with the Burgundians, I guess. We'll see both eco upgrades in for Papaya Pete here. It's not quite in the Castle Age with the Castle Age click just yet, but it's going for a market stable up here. Had the barracks from earlier, so he's going to try to contest the middle, try to snag the relics. They're both scouting the middle to get some idea about where the relics are. Healthy farming economy extending for Vevi here as well. He might actually have more farms than Papaya Pete at this point. Not that it matters that much. It's 5 farms to 7. Should have somewhat comparable uptimes here as well. In fact, Vevi is going to be up earlier. Okay, not earlier, but about the same time as Papaya Pete here, because he has the 66% faster research. Is going to go up on 30 population here, is he? He's missing a little bit of food still. 4 on gold here. Almost. There's a lot of farms here for Vevi. I think he might actually be going for a fast Imperial Age approach here. Queuing War Winter, if that guy goes to gold, that could be another indication that he's aiming for a faster Imperial Age. Or maybe not, maybe he's just happy seating lots of farms early here because Horse Collar is already in. Gotta say though, Papaya Pit has the better map generation here. He has some back booming space, he has main gold and side gold in the back, and the main stone, so whatever kind of pressure Vevi applies here, I'm glad he didn't go for the tower rush, because that would be absolute disaster against a base like this, with all of the resources in the back. Castle Age kicking in for the green player here, and these scouts count about similar. Neither player gets bloodlines, so they should be somewhat equally matched. And in fact, funnily enough, the Burgundians have better upgrades overall, because they also have access to the full defense upgrades. So I'm certainly favoring Papaya Pit's approach so far this way, this game, as they are matched in upgrades. Obviously, Vevi... I mean, Vevi could get Husbandry as well, but he doesn't seem to be prioritizing it, is he? We'll see at the speed of the scouts that that's going to increase to 1.71 for Papaya Pit. That's nearly the same as the Shrivamsha Rider, which is at 180 with Husbandry in, I think, even 186. It's probably one of the fastest cavalry unit in the game. It's out of the two civs here, it's arguably the most important to collect the relics for the Burgundians, because they also get a food trickle from the relics throughout the game. But Vevi will want them as well for added late game gold. It's only on 2000 centers, so that could indicate a faster Imperial Age approach here for Vevi. He's also a bit more than a bit of an infantry fanboy, so maybe we'll get to see Karambit Warriors or Forced Levy here on Arena, but he doesn't necessarily take these big chances either. He probably doesn't want to try and troll a player that's so close to his level as Papaya Pit is. Light Cab is in for the Burgundians. That's also at a 50% discount from the Burgundian stable, because the stable upgrades are cheaper. Which obviously applies to Cavalier and Paladin later on as well. And I guess even Husbandry, so that's why it's easier for Papaya Peters to pick it up behind everything going on here. 3 town centers, producing villagers, booming more efficiently than Vevi currently, but Vevi is also dropping that 3rd town center. Has comparable eco upgrades. And now saves the main gold for later, while placing a town center on the little bit safer back gold there. Light Cab in for the Malay as well. Monk trying for a conversion. Actually gets a conversion on the Light Cab there. That gives Vevi a tiny edge on the fight. It looks like they both might bring their scouts units. And it's going to be a quite the even trade though, but now one more popping in here for Vevi. Papaya Pit adds more Light Cab to keep contesting the middle. They've got only 1 relic each. It's about to be a second one for Papaya Pit, and they'll be fighting over who can get the 3rd one, and there's light relics advantage here. And I think that might be Vevi, because he's still queuing more Light Cab, just to make sure the middle can be properly contested here. Definitely winning the middle here, but not without the cost for Vevi. He's been investing quite a bit of food into those Light Cab. We could show from the idle towns at the time as well that the Light Cab investment has cost Vevi here, but his farming count still somewhat, well, it keeps up with Papaya Pit aside from the upgrades, so Papaya Pit's farms are going to last longer here. Gold-wise, gold mining for Papaya Pit, also a cheaper eco upgrade for the Burgundians. Quite similar approaches here, except that TC number 4 for Papaya Pit means that his Imperial Age is going to be delayed even more against the Malay here. Maybe, yeah, not the best choice against Malay, considering that the Malay will usually, in equal terms, the Malay will be up even earlier as well. See the neutral golds arguably favoring Papaya Pete a little bit here. Usually not so relevant in arena. There you'll be fighting mainly with armies and creep further towards the opponent side of the map as the game progresses, but there are 2 golds here closer to it. Well, I guess that's Papaya Pete's own 3rd gold, but then the neutral ones are closer to the green side as well. Atonement is in for Webby. The Malay have a richer monk tech tree than the Burgundians, but Atonement seems to be in for both. Webby gets the conversion. Is he gonna get another monk? Yeah, Papaya Pete doesn't want to risk losing a monk, simply converts. Deletes the monk before it can be converted, but does lose a villager to AE conversion in the end. And that's the only thing making up the villager difference at this point. With Webby picking up on a more consistent town center production out of the 3 of them here. Imperial Age now the way for Papaya Pete to the Burgundians. Means that I guess since you've seen the monks, you might not want to go into Cavalier here immediately, but second stable pops out, so Webby knows what to expect here. Maybe he'll invest into more monks as a result, or just start thinking about the Halberdier siege push already. He's got the resource to go up by far. He should have been clicking Imperial Age here a while ago, looking at the resources, but he only needs that second building. Looks like that's going to be a castle forward-ish, and joined by, I feel like it has to be Halberdiers here now, right? You've seen the second stable of Papaya Pete. Soap says, I love monk play. It's becoming increasingly interesting these days. Oh, wait. I didn't realize this was Webby placing a staple. Papaya Pete with the range just further back. Is that going to be the hand cannoneers then? I don't really see Burgundians going into a ranged unit like the crossbow style here. Webby is definitely an aggressive player. When we played our set in this tournament, he's like 700 EO above me, but still he decided to lame my elephant on Socotra, and yeah, one of his favorite maps are Socotra. So you don't want to be up against Webby on Socotra, and he's a huge infantry fanboy, so he has some masterpieces with all-in Goff's infantry play that can be seen on my YouTube channel. Both him and another player called Nope certainly give the infantry some love. I've seen them play Celts as well. Papaya Pete, on the other hand, is maybe a little bit more on the defensive side. He does like scouts into cavalry archer play though. So it's he's not quite with the cavalry archer civ this time around. He's going with the more boomy economic civ here. Let's see if he can hold it. He's going into skirmishers though. Maybe he's going in blind. It's arena, right? So you're going in kind of blindfolded. You don't really know what to expect. So Papaya Pete is playing chess here and thinks that Webby is going for the Imperial Age Arbalests of the Malay here, but that's not quite the case for Webby. Just they're both making skirmishers for some reason. So the sneaky forward stable is about to go down, just buying Webby some extra time for whatever he's up to here. He's going to get the conversion in there almost for sure. Papaya Pete deletes it before it happens. But a second forward castle goes down, which means that Papaya Pete will have to rely on bombard cannons to take out opposing trebuchets maybe, but it's going to be a trebuchet war that Webby is set up nicely to win here. I wonder if the castle is far enough back for Webby not to be able to range it. No, I don't think so. And why is Papaya Pete breaking his own walls? Is he trying to snipe the villager with a trap or something? Yeah, he's trying to get the villager. He's attacked ground to try and get the villager. Or maybe he was aiming for the outpost. You never know with these inaccurate trebuchets at work. Light Cav still alive for Webby, as we know. The Cavalier now comes in for Papaya Pete. He also gets Bracer for his Skirmishers, just in case the Malay player is going for Arbalist, but there isn't a single Arbalist out. I always get brain dead teammates. That's not a very nice thing to say about the teammates. Even if it might be accurate sometimes. And if you choose to queue with random players in ranked, you're not allowed to call them braided. If I could eat my teammates' scrotum, I would. Well, to each his own, I guess. Not the most constructive piece of chat I've ever seen, but sure. Hope you get better teammates next time. As another castle comes up for Vevi over here, the score pretty darn even. Papaya Pete's housed at 165 here though, so that puts a stopper to the unit's production for now. He's gone into Paladin because now he knows that there are only, for the time being, trebuchets and skirmishers out and about here. But look at the halberdier tech coming in here for the blue player. Are you really tall? I'm 185 centimeters. You'll be the judge of whether that's tall or not. Power cannons dealing with some of the skirmishers over here. And Papaya Pete has more yet worse upgraded elite skirmishers against Vevi here. Vevi could add bomber cannons of his own as well. He has access to those with the Malay. More for than Vevi stable, indeed. Papaya Pete should be getting decent trades here, but that's more because of the bomber cannons in the back and the higher numbers of skirmishers here. Barracks now for Vevi means he could go into Forced Levy as well, just for the troll sake of things, but he did Q Halberd. He's getting elite Karambit warriors. He's 3 castles up and he's going to max out on the population and even more with the Malay here, because the Karambit warriors, they only take half population space. Unironically though, it's a good unit to add in here when you have the infantry upgrades and everything prepared, because skirmishers have minimum range, so even though these are fragile units, when you get close enough, the skirmishers should melt to the 8+2 attack of the elite Karambits, and you could just flood them out of the castles in no time. You see how quickly they create as well. Thought people from Norway were supposed to be tall. I would still say that 185 centimeters is above average. And I don't see how it's relevant to Age of Empires 2 anyway, so if you keep the trolling up, you might earn yourself a ban. Paladins are in, that should be dealing well with Karambit numbers, as they are currently not in critical mass, to say the least. The Halberdiers are in for Vevi. He only misses the last attack upgrade, which isn't crucial for the Halberdiers to deal well with Paladins. And he has plenty of map presence in the middle now. Scrambling up more barracks, I would assume that conscription is already in to boost the production speed. Listen here, Shortcake, you can't ban me. How about the time out then? See you in 10 minutes. Not really contributing. Stinkiest Maximus. 6 feet doesn't tell me anything, but I assume that's the same thing I was talking about, the 185 centimeters. Can't say I've ever thought about my height, to be honest. I'm feeling pretty average. It's more annoying than anything because public transport is still designed towards shorter people. Like on a bus, I still hit my head in the ceiling, or very limited space for the feet in airplanes, and yeah. Freedom units. Is that actually a term, by the way? Is that actually an official term for feet and ounces and stuff like that? Or is it just like a slang, silly word for it? Well, Karambits are doing work here. They are also sort of acting as a meat shield against the skirmishers for Vevi's own skirmishers. And if you look at the resources at work here, he's got enough resources to, well, spam stuff for quite a while yet. He's well on top. What's the healer range here? Low 1700s, low 1900s. So they're not horribly far out. But Vevi to be favored for sure. And hello, Age of Noob. Sad to see your Discord go, but that's life. Flemish Militia, Flemish Revolution, I mean. Pop-Pete pushing the button here, but I think he knows it's over. It's sort of a last hurrah just to try and deal with Vevi's army spam here. But if we have a look at the resources and the fact that Pop-Pete will need to reboom builders like there's no tomorrow to to get back into this. You know, I'm not really seeing a win condition for Pop-Pete given his current resources, but he does get plate parting armor to pump out more paladins here. Was missing that for a while, might have hurt against the Karambits. Well, Vevi is floating resources because it's pop-capped. Pop-Pete just has the Burgundy's economy, so that could have something to do with it as well. Here they go. Last push most likely. Paladins just on a lunch break over here. I guess they did raid a gold, so they've done something. We're down to 55 Flemish militia now. I didn't catch exactly how many when they converted them. But at least over 100 for sure. Yeah, also Pop-Pete was expecting the arbalasts of Vevi, but they're being pulled in just now. So he went into skirmishers blindly, basically. To be fair though, his home base hasn't really been breached here. He's back at whooping 28 villagers, struggling a little bit with food to keep the production up. But maybe way more military now that the Flemish militia have been dealt with. I would be expecting a chat message typing the double G's not too long. There it is. First game goes not to Pop-Pete but to Vevi. 126 Flemish militia, so that's the villager count when he pushed the infamous button. Vevi with twice the amount of Karambit warriors from the castle, losing one castle to Pop-Pete's push at least also. We did see one Malay castle go down here, but the presumed stronger player on top of things here. Also won the relics contest earlier. Yeah, got 3 relics to do, so tiny advantage there, but resources aren't exactly Vevi's issue here. He could still spam for a while longer. Lots of trash units fighting for this first arena game. Healthier economy for the Malay, never getting really contested at home. And otherwise quite comparable up times all the way here. Would have expected a Malay up way earlier, to be honest. Vevi came out swinging, dominated pacing out of the gate. And you say it's a slang term that's caught online. Yeah, I've seen it written several places, the so-called freedom units. That's a freedom unit as well. It's a revolutionary unit, you know. Fighting for freedom. Didn't get their freedom this game. Okay, here's the deal for AOE Norway League. For this season, I gave the players free pick of home maps from all of the standard Definitive Edition maps. But for the semis and finals, I restricted that to any map but two different any map. However, you are required to pick two different styles, so water map, land map, for example, hybrid map, land map, something like that. So we'll dive into game 2 shortly. I'll just pull it up here from the recorded games and hope they work, since we've had a small hotfix recently. And game 2 should bring us Papaya's first home map, which is Nomad. He's a big Nomad fanboy, but I think Vevi sort of enjoys Nomad as well, so we could see many things happening here. Classic matchup here for Nomad, Malians versus Persians. Both players will be able to drop the dock and create the fishing ship and place the town center immediately. And it looks like Vevi has already found a beautiful starting position on stone. Geppettos maybe unique unity again here. But he sees the boar, he's got the woodline covered, and he's quite close to the shoreline. He's going to dock the other side, so Papaya Pete might... Where's he gonna dock actually? Yeah, he's looking for shorefish, so he's gonna dock this one. That's a horrible dock, honestly. Deep fish here, at least that's close to the first one. They both have shitty docks. Just, it's going to be such a far travel. I always try to settle for one of the corners on Nomad for the initial dock if I can, because you're just going to find, in most cases, more deep fish. Yeah, the huge selection of maps, it makes preparation harder, but it also provides more variety and option of specialization, so we could see upsets because of that. We have seen it as well. We had Andy beat Kong in the group stage, and Andy is currently in the 1300, low 1400s 1v1, but Kong he's peaked at above 1800. But on Socotra, Andy had a special Bulgarian strat played, so he took a game of Kong there. First fishing ship out for the Malians first here. Papaya Pete just now queuing his, so the eco difference is negligible to begin with. Here. I'm not loving this dock location of Papaya Pete though, because it's close enough to the shoreline to be slightly exposed to galleys, but war galleys and galleons later on you could render this dock useless. So if you go for the galleys play here in the feudal age onwards, you would be able to obstruct some of Papaya Beast's starting economy. Four over here and over here, so they're close for Papaya Beast. He hasn't seen the second one yet. Alright, thanks for stopping by, Soaps. VODs will be up for 14 days, and it probably will be on YouTube as well as the other AOE Norway League finals I've casted through the years. I try to put any finals onto my YouTube. It's interesting that Vevi chooses to go for the deer first here. Maybe he wants to get more villagers out before going for the boar, because he knows it's there. You need that, even with the starting fish like that, you still want a little bit of food income when you approach 7 or 8 villagers, or once your 4 initial villagers have completed queuing, because otherwise your DC is going to run, town center is going to run idle for a bit. 3 fish out for the Persians, so Papaya Pete off to a little bit better start here. Once he reaches the fuel ledge, he'll also have faster working docks and town centers, so that should be playing into the Persians' favor on hybrid maps like Nomad. They should be ahead in economy, even if that faster production speed also means that they'll need more food to sustain it. Maybe you'd want to queue one more fishing ship than you usually would with any other civilization as the Persians, just to offset that 10% faster working town center in the fuel ledge. It's Nomad though, so we'll keep a little eye on the scouting and speed the situation up a little bit here, since we're casting from recorded games. There's not going to be any aggression of significance on Nomad, as Vevi finds another boar, so he's set up nicely for. He's actually on the way to the fuel ledge already, but they both are. Papaya Pete just a tiny 20 seconds behind Vevi here. Yeah, population is comparable. Vevi 1 eco unit less. That should be the fish. So that's exactly what Papaya Pete did there. He added one more fishing ship to compensate for the food shortage that a slightly faster working town center could cause for the food income. He's not quite found Vevi's dock yet. Neither of them have scouted the naval areas. They're far enough away for fast castle age to be the play in question here. As you won't really be subject to any tower rush or early archers with this kind of distance. They haven't scouted each other's locations, but Papaya Pete has found more sheep to scout the map with. Vevi committing a villager, but he has the first fire galley out. Realized that Papaya Pete has settled over here, means that the dock could be close as well. Still going to be quite the travel distance for Vevi and Papaya Pete now, with 2 fire galleys in the queue to move in the proper direction and intercept Vevi's first fire galley here. Or not. Did I just miss the shot? This could be bad news for Papaya Pete's fish. No, now he sees it. He's fine. So he's committing the first galley to try and find Vevi's fish, I guess, or just to find the dock positioning. There he goes. Should be one fire galley popping out here soon enough, though. And once that engages, Papaya Pete will be at a disadvantage hit points wise, because Vevi very likely will be getting the first hit. Fire galley on this side as well, scouting for any docks to the west side of the map for Papaya Pete. Vevi now about to find the second one. And will run, or should I say float, into Papaya Pete's fire galley here. They don't really engage here. These guys need to learn how to patrol. Says me. 400 elo below. So, even with the faster working economy of the Persians, given the investment from both players, I get, yeah, maybe it makes sense. Papaya Pete certainly has the numbers lead on water now, forcing Vevi off the fish on this side, but no. One eco unit lost for Vevi, so he did lose 1 fish to Papaya Pete's armies here. Papaya Pete should be trading well against the 2 fire galleys here. He could just keep chasing, while keeping his fish working. After a good start on Nomad here, Papaya Pete, but he chooses not to keep pushing, even though the dock is there. Maybe he's afraid of demolition rafts in this dock that's quite close to the edge. No flags on it though, so you could probably stick around for a little while longer. Blacksmith Market now popping up for Vevi with 2 on stone as well. Could task more to eventually get the castle up. He knows the location of Papaya Pete's town center, but it also looks like Papaya Pete, once he gets the second build structure, oh, there it is. He's going to click Castle Age, so he's going for the Blacksmith stable approach this time. Has had the fish economy running, so should easily be able to afford the first few knights here against Vevi, who yet has to click up, but once again the uptimes are quite comparable here, sort of 30-ish seconds between them. That's about 1 villager's worth of time. Naval army is not really being used efficiently enough here though. 3 fire galleys sneaking in, but Popeye Pit should be able to spot that through the vision of the dock to the south here. Ooh, actually could a scout. So while on the way to the castle stage, having dropped the stable gives Webby an indication perhaps that he's investing into cavalry here, even though that's not exactly a surprise from these cavalry-centric civilizations here, or yeah, Persians fully upgraded paladin and heavy camel, Malians with Farimba unique technology also applying to cavalry in the late game, giving them +5 attack, but as a result lacking the last attack upgrade, so effectively +5 attack total with full upgrades in the Imperial Age. We're not able to engage against the fish here comfortably, and actually pushing Popeye Pit towards a slightly more favorable fish positioning here. Could redock over here as well to benefit from some of the deep fish at work over here. Castle Age is in second. Town Center goes up on stone for collecting stone for further town centers or potentially defensive castles as well. Tiny eco need for Popeye Pit as well, as he does have, well, did have more fish working. I guess Vivi managed to take out some fish after all, as Popeye Pit has only 4 of them. Committing to more galley here now. That's going to transform these fire galleys into fire ships. Fish now back at work. Fireship still not been scouting. Popeye Pit has no idea of the west side of the map here, where Bevy also has docked. Maybe he just assumes that this is the only dock that Bevy had. Could also use the cavalry to scout the mainland, I guess. Bevy with the spearman defense, but also a nice defensive castle on the hill here to very much defend the base from enemy entry on this side, and securing 2 woodlands with it. Villagers fighting the first knight here, actually, that's something you usually want to avoid. There's one thing about Webby's side though, that's Nomad RNG for you, where you settle. There's a couple of stones here for Webby, but his only goal is on the hill here, so it's crucial for Webby to defend that. In fact, maybe the castle should have gone up on this hill, because that's the only gold, as far as Webby knows, that he has access to. He sees this one as well, but that can't really be town centered or anything, and that can't be either, so you need to secure them more properly. But it's with 5 on stone. Should be able to get a defensive fortification up eventually. Finally, moving over to the other side here for Popeye Pit. I guess this town center, if spotted, could also be contested by naval armies. Not too commonly seen, but it's an option. Webby with the first monk out as well could convert 1 ship, but that wouldn't change too much of the course of the event here. Looks like Webby is just going to give up the fish at this point. He probably shouldn't try to invest more into water, but rather extend the economy on land as he's doing. And he's also making Geppetto from the castle. That's also more than decent raiding unit for the Malians, as it moves rather quickly. 138 movement speed, which is quick for an infantry with ranged melee attack properties. If Popeye Pit gets enough knights and with full defense upgrades, so he could still engage against the Geppettos up until a certain point. I guess he could try and get conversions in as well, but it's 5 rage for the Geppetto and it's 9 for the monks, so with the conversion time of monks in mind, Webby might be able to take out the monks as well. Yeah, tries to engage here. 1 knight, obviously not enough. Monk's gonna go down to the Geppetto as well, as Webby focuses still converting monk and finally gets the knight down as well. 1 conversion that should happen for Popeye Pit unless RNGesus is not with him, and that's not the case today. It seems no kills for Popeye Pit on land just yet. His KD should be mainly on water here, I believe. He might have gotten a villager of Heavy from the raids earlier on, but there's at least he's one water, so his food economy should still be comfortable. Water might want to redock, yeah, and add some more fish here to have an economy that's harder to raid, so to speak, as the naval situation is in Papaya Pete's hands. Baby just casually dropping more town centers, keeps investing on stone, so he's going for the unique unit play again here. So I feel like what Papaya Pete needed to do on this map is naval investment has been fine. He made like 10 fire galleys total, lost a few, but has won the water, so I wouldn't call that an overinvestment, but he needs to focus the golds, and that's what he's done. He's found what is essentially the only safe gold of Vevi. Vevi hasn't gone for this one either, but as the stone gets collected, Vevi now with 20 on stone, he could even sell stone for gold at this point, but more importantly, he has enough stone for another castle, which... yeah, could secure this gold for you, perhaps, or this gold. Maybe this is better. Another castle on the hill to assume this gold. It's going to be more forward than that, actually. And now, with stone collected from Papaya Pit on this TC as well, he goes for a defensive town center. But this is currently his only place with access to gold, and with the hill right next to it, the Geppettos could still move about and raid that gold as well. So both players complete their castles. Town centers have more hit points for the Persians as well, so even if this castle goes down, Papaya Pit still has a point of refuge for a while longer. Doesn't seem like Vevi wants to make any efforts for a naval combat. Care is transitioning into full land play at this time. Even collecting some berries here. The third castle going up to double up on the Geppetto production, maybe once he secures the gold at least. He's not even gone back to this gold, he's just content committing to the boom at this point. Could wall off this side in between the castles to limit any Persian raid options. But it goes to keep up the aggression instead. Even an outpost here to get some vision on whatever Papaya Pete might be up to on this side. Look at the vision Vevi has on the map now. He has more than half of the map within reasonable vision from his structures and outposts here. And the Geppettos are getting value as well. 7 kills for those. Only 1 eco kill, otherwise military, which is mainly being knights, I presume, and in this case a scout. You convert one unit, I convert back. Peak low gameplay here with Papaya Pit converting one Geppetto and Vevi just instantly converting it back. Pretty significant stone investment for Papaya Pit here. Is going to drop a second castle. Placed some walls to the side here as well, stone walls to limit raids from this area from Vevi, or obstruct really. But where's that second castle going up? It needs to go here to protect the gold. Now, comfortably ahead, Vevi, not kicked to the Imperial Age at all yet. He'll need to either stay Castle Age and pump out some ramps, or just be patient here and accept that this castle might likely go down to Papaya Pete's initial trebuchets. It's still going to be hard for Papaya Pete to push further out, even with the economy working behind all this, because of the castles and town centers that Vevi has placed here, and the fact that he's not really committing that much to military though. Vevi is getting a little bit too comfortable here, maybe with a strong army composition from Papaya Pete here he could push this back, as Imperial Age just got clicked by Webby and he's been committing to Geppettos for now. Only one builder repairing that one, that's not going to stay up for very long. I'm definitely going to lose this castle, I think, unless more builders are tasked to work on that one. A third castle for Papaya Pete as well. That's effectively just buying him time to do whatever here now. It also guards another gold here, conserving the gold maybe to afford more trebuchets here. Papaya Pete, as he's gone into some light cavalry for raiding options. Maybe acknowledging the fact that raids might come his way. He's dropping another clever castle to the west side here. It's just got so many... such a compact economy here with castles within range of basically everything here. He did lose his castle in this position though, and Papaya Pete keeps pushing out, but look at the military counter, 18 to 10. It's not exactly the strongest Imperial Age push at work here. Still, but one more castle might go down though, since we have two trebuchets and we're still not in the Imperial Age here, so never say never. This could be Papaya Pete's window back into land control here, dealing with those castles before Webby can counter trebuchets, but he's gone into... I mean, his boom is essentially complete now, right? This is 120 villagers. So even thinking about some infantry addition here, or maybe it's just for the Geppettos still. It's 21 Geppettos. In Imperial Age gets access to Elite as well, not to mention the blacksmith upgrades on the Imperial Age. Still, with the army currently on the field, Geppetto makes perfect sense. And some monks to add in to get some conversions in on Papaya Pete's cavalry, but Webby hasn't scouted Papaya Pete's side for a while now, so it doesn't really know what to expect in that sense. Focuses down on Treb though, huge value for the Geppetto over there. Handcart to extend the economy investment as well, not even wheelbarrow for Papaya Pete, so Webby certainly has a more healthy economy working here. Decides to let that light cap go and chase them with his own. He's no Farimba, no Castle Age attack upgrade, no iron forging. Is this going to be the track bows of Papaya Pete then? I suppose so, because he's with 35 on wood. Didn't see if Kamandaran got researched, it didn't just yet, but if he does, and he gets enough ranges up, he could use the wood only costing crossbows of the Persians to repel the Geppettos over here, as the crossbows would have 5+2 range with Bodkin, I guess. However, Webby would have Farimba cavalry to deal with trash bows, so as long as it's able to deal with Papaya Pete's fortifications here, the 3 castles down here, the crossbows shouldn't be that much of a threat, even if they're essentially trash units. Decent raids from Webby here as well. Farimba now coming in, that is going to give his cavalry +5 attack. He already has +1 from forging, but they are going to have 7+6 attack with forging. And with Farimba, I mean, and with iron forging, it's going to be 7+7 for the light cab. Same with the cavalier, they get that 5 extra attack as well. Now almost splitting the map in two, and what speaks to Papaya Pete's favor here is that he does control most of the golds here, but bad news for Papaya as well. On the same note is that there are still 11 tiles of gold for Webby to collect here. So while controlling most of the golds, is not controlling all, and that allows for Farimba cavalry to enter the field. Chemistry coming in as well could mean that Papaya Pete wants to... I mean, it's a good one to have, both for the option of bombard cannons for the Persians, but also in the case that Vevi goes for the infantry line, the champions and champ scarls, as the Malians get nicknamed sometimes. Papa Pete will already have a response to that. I suppose the hand cannoneers would deal well with the Geppetto as well, as they have infantry upgrades. I just can't really say I've seen hand cannoneers versus Geppetto all that often. In fact, I don't really see this unit massed all that often. All in all, though, quite even game here. Popeye just 20 population behind. The villager count is comparable. Popeye has the fish income, which means that he will not need to seed farms for a long while yet. I mean, he could seed fish traps as well, and that's unraidable by Vevi's land armies. He needs to get there with the ships. 3 trebuchets for the Malians pushing here, though. That's cattle. Popeye did a ridiculous amount of villagers repairing this one. That's almost 30 villagers. Really needs to keep this cattle up. And doesn't have enough land units to clean up the remaining Geppetto. Or does he, actually? Castle only fletching might hurt the defensive properties as well. But it is enough to chase away the Geppettos now. Light cab for Vevi, now only missing iron forging, but has 7+6 attack. Should be 3 shotting builders, roughly. A huge wave of them diving in here now. And reclaim this hill with another castle as well, which means that this castle might be history soon for Popeye. There's a clinical push here from Vevi to acknowledge where Popeye is taking the most of the gold to obstruct the economy as best as possible. Did manage to get some raids in as well. Will use some light cab to take out production capabilities as well. And with Farimba light cab now on the field, maybe we'll need heavy camel from Popeye to keep up with those. Because Malians... Oh, but Persians get halberdier as well, actually. So you could go into Persian halbs here. No war elephants. Does it look like we're in a position to make war elephants here? I mean, I guess we had the castles, so we had the option to. But the reality is that the presumed stronger player, Vevi, takes the first home map of Popeye. Let's have a quick look here at the statistics again. War Galley might have been unnecessary here from Popeye. It's a bit too far of a stretch to call it a waste, because he did help him clean up the fish and docks of Vevi, but it's a costly upgrade as well. And with more fire galleys from the very get-go from the Persians, maybe that upgrade wasn't strictly needed. Could have given you a few more early knights to raid Vevi's gold and take advantage of the fact that Vevi had very limited access to gold, right? All of the golds to the eastern side of the map. Resources collected, actually just... okay, it's about 8k more for Vevi, I guess that's significant. Did snag some relics as well, 1600 relics, they both collected relics. Exactly similar exploration. And then villager count 150 in the end for Vevi. Did have to invest more on land economy though to compensate for losing the fish. We're going to a game 3. Let me just pick up the draft here, because this sent it to me over here. I think this is the... nope. Wrong set. This one. So here you see the maps. 3 pickup maps from the Definitive Edition standard maps. Popeye with Nomad and Hideout. So we're going to see Hideout next, most likely. Vevi's maps are Arabia and Mega Random. But here's the draft. For the first game, we had Vevi winning with Malay against the Burgundians on Arena. For Nomad, we have the Malians winning against the Persians on that very classic matchup. And since we're going to Hideout next, I'm kind of getting Saracens vibes here from Papai Pit, but it could also be Portuguese for the organ gunplay to try and get to that power unit and punish Vevi that way. Vevi loves his infantry play. He doesn't have a lot of infantry sims here. Could have played infantry with the Malians. Can definitely play them with the Teutons. Mongols have a super fast men-at-arms play for Hideout if you want to as well. And but I feel like Mongols could be one of his Arabia civs, whereas Teuton strikes me as more of a Hideout civ to defend against towers, men-at-arms towers pushes. So let's gamble on the Teutons versus Saracens push here. Saracens for the feudal age, archers to break through the buildings, Teutons to defend with towers, possibly. And here we go. Hideout it is, and then we have the Mongols. Okay, so we might yet see some feudal age infantry and towers play here, I think. I usually do that with Mongols in this map anyway, because it's they have such fast food income. It's very easy to make an even earlier men-at-arms towers push than you could with generic civilizations. 40% faster collection of hunt, and now the hunt inside of the walls, which isn't guaranteed on Hideout. Yeah, we'll see what Vevi's plan is here. But Papai to the Saracens as expected. Also pushes in the hunt. How much? I think that's 3 deer for this one and not 4. So not maxing out on that bonus for the Mongols, but still very fast, fluent, early food income for the Mongols here. I would expect low idle towns at a time from both here with the ease of food access. That's at work on this game. It's not that super close map generation though. You need to travel to almost to the other edge of the map to pull off your aggression. So this could favor fast castle play, especially with this woodline in the middle here. And similarly on the other side, it's screaming for a wall off here. Maybe especially for Papai Pit with the 2 neutral golds over here, whereas for Vevi they're closer to home base, but in exchange easier defended by a castle position there. Suddenly you can control all 3 golds with 1 castle. Or wood for the both of them by looks of it. Didn't get loom already, did we? No, it's 7 on food for Papai Pit actually, so he's with a higher villager count on food than Vevi currently, or Vevi was, but that's also because of the food income bonus of Vevi. He doesn't really need to add more villagers to food to potentially speed up the feudal age research here. The Papai Pit, if it's going feudal age aggression here, I assume it would be something like 21 population, double range archers with a market to potentially tweak resources, sell stone for gold if you need to. It has to be, he's down to 0, right? So he has to do something a little bit unconventional here to try and gain an edge on Vevi. Mill is up for Vevi, 17 population currently. Not really how much food are these guys carrying. Yeah, not really close to that up click just yet. Taking the last deer, milling it instead of now. The second boar, Papai Pit, 13 on food, 2 on berries. Investing heavily on the boars now, but also tasking more to berries here. I think the All in all, the uptimes will be comparable here, but Webby will have an easier time affording everything because it's should have been collecting more food, right? So look at the food collection here, because there's not really that much interesting stuff to follow in this time of the game. Scouts fight. Webby with the first hit. Neither player clicked up to the feudal age just yet. Papaya Pete finding a little bit of a hill there. Could get back on top of things for the fight, but Bevy still with that hit points advantage. He's 60 hit points more. Going to win that Scouts fight if he keeps chasing. So Papaya Pete will need to try and get back home here. He clicks to the feudal age. Wants to go for that. It's 22 pop Indian, not 21. Didn't go to gold yet. Didn't go to stone yet. So this strikes me as a straight archers, or even potentially a, if not for the 2 lumber camps, it could have been a past castle monks play as well. Saracens have a wide monk tech tree. I think they have all of the monster technologies, but now 3 to gold. Going to be the archers approach here. Bevy on the other hand, 24 population here, 4 farms seeded. He is going straight for the castle age. So this is going to be feudal age aggression against an attempted fast castle age push here, but with the Saracens faster attack against buildings for the archers, maybe Papaya Pete can get here early enough to get inside and do some proper damage as well. Barracks is up. Feudal age is in. 1 minute 20 seconds ahead of Baby here. And it's going to be, I was going to say it has to be 2 ranges, right? But he's not quite able to afford that yet. 1 range, 1 blacksmith. Oh, it's going to be tough for Papaya Pete to get enough armies out in time here with Baby's straight for the castle age approach here. He's placing the barracks. Could go for archers of his own into crossbows in the castle age, the Mongols. But could also just go for knights in the early castle age, because now he's seeing the uptime. He's expecting feudal age aggression from the Saracens at this point. Bevy also taking the time to scout some of the relics to contest those in the early castle age for an additional passive gold boost. Second range is up. Archers in production out of both of them. And now the market as well, costing only 75 wood for the Saracens and trading resources at more favorable rates, so certainly a worthwhile addition at this point. So Scout now back at home base for, or at Papaya Pete's home base for Bevy. Going to spot the ranges, probably expecting those though. And Castle Age now on the way. Papaya Pete hasn't moved out yet. He can't move out with too few units either, then he won't really be able to break through. Yes. Close. But did Papaya Pete write something as well? Six archers moving out. This should be a fairly easy house wall for Vevi though. Screwed some scouts as well. He's going to see the aggression entering. He can't engage obviously, because the scout doesn't have any upgrades whatsoever, but he's in Castle Age in 1 minute. And I think I guess you'll want the first armor upgrade, but if you have the first armor upgrade, 2 knights would be enough to clean up these archers. Yep, Papaya Pete needs to pull back. He needs to scramble for the Castle Age ASAP here, and now he's effectively behind. However you look at it, it's gone to stone. So we'll scramble for the Castle Age instead, get a defensive castle up. Maybe with double stable, so he's... No, not double stable, stable blacksmith. Sorry. So he's going to use the mobility of knights here for map control for a little while. He's not gone to stone, but he places a TC on stone, so his long-term plan is to get those Mangudai out. Mangudai. 12 watches now moving out. Popeye Pete, it's dangerous to move out now though, but maybe Popeye Pete knows that this early in the cast stage maybe can't have a huge mass of knights yet, or the upgrades for that matter. Maybe he checks for Bloodlines as well to see if the scouts have any appropriate upgrades, but there aren't any upgrades at all. Vevi just with a few scouts arena style to claim the map and contest the relics. So Popeye Pete moving a little bit further should easily be able to break this palisade gate. Forcing Vevi into a defensive siege workshop here. He's got an absolute minimum on gold, but should be able to get a mangonel out without any issues here. Yeah, unless it gets denied, but it doesn't get denied. So in theory you could stick around with the archers and try to take out this siege workshop, but a mangonel could pop out at any moment, so of course you don't want to risk that. Cast stage, 1 minute to go for Popeye Pete now. 6 on stone as well. And more archers in the queue at home behind all of this. Is he looking for another point of entry maybe? Whoa, Mangonel, dangerously close. Oi, 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 oi. No defense upgrades on the archers. Probably doesn't matter that much for good late archers either, but that Mangonel shot certainly hurt. That was 3 archers going down for Popeye Pete and 4 or 5 more of them getting weakened in the process as well. Third town center for Vevi now should be establishing a comfortable villagers lead with the numbers here as Popeye Pete tries for a forward push here with Siege adding a stable as well, maybe to queue a couple of camels against any cavalry defense from Vevi here. And Vevi going into full boom mode here with a TC number 4 as well. He's been collecting stone at this town center. So that's how he's been able to add more of add more town centers without needing to tweak it through a market, though it does have the market as well. Saracen's crossbow outrange town centers, but that doesn't help when the opponent has invested into defensive siege. Couple of scorpions and a mangonel, not over investing here. Vevi, he wants to spend most of the wood for farms and continued builder production, and he has 4 town centers consistently pumping out villagers now. Currently at the 7 villagers lead and overall better eco upgrades as well. Scouts will be going down to the crossbows, no problem though. And to be fair, Popeye Pete, who has been collecting stone behind all this, could be able to get a castle down forward at some point here with the crossbow armies to defend. Opting for some walls to keep the mobility of Vevi's armies out as well, but nothing to stop Vevi from sneaking around to the other side, of course. Also, the scouts could help deny these walls for Vevi, or at least keep an eye on what's going on here. I see the villagers wall stone walling, you see the stone walls on this side, so he knows what's going on here. They're very hesitant to add a lot of builders, always relying on town centers and a few siege weapons to defend here, and it's been working for Vevi, considering that Popeye Pete hasn't risked moving into the blue base. $29 crossbows, no, 33 crossbows total for Papa Beat here certainly has the military lead. Is being outmatched in economic numbers though. Walling off one side, yes, but with the healthier economy of Bevy, when or if this game goes to Imperial Age, Bevy could sneak around to the other side, get some stables up and raid with Mongols Hussars to force Papaipi to react at all. Nice little split there, loses no crossbows to the Mangonel shot, takes out the Scorpion as well, even though none of those stones hit the target, but that's just AOE 2 things, I guess. 3 Mangonels depending for Bevy though. Which means that a group of 30 crossbows can't even dream about engaging. Bevy moving out, timing it to when Papayvit has fired at the TC. Papayvit also reacting in time to pull away, could repair this one with the forward villager. Tries to send a knight forward to snipe the siege, but Bevy has one single bonk here defending as well. It's such a great defense from Bevy here to protect his boom with an absolute minimal of investment of resources here. No ballistics for Papayvit yet. Still manages to deal with the knights because of the sheer mass of crossbows here. 1 for 0? Are you kidding me? Why didn't that go down? Maybe it was because it was moving for Bevy. That was a university, and then it was a market, and now it is a monastery for Saracens, so some hotkey issues there in the heat of the moment, possibly. Scout Cav being added by Papayvit now, hoping to snipe the monks perhaps, but the Mangonels could also attack ground against the scouts when or if that should happen. Hasn't succeeded in doing any damage here, but you could say the same about Vevi. He's just been defending here, hasn't really been making any efforts to counter-attack. Maybe he's just expecting that there's walls on the other side now as well. But this is where the action is at. Forward Siege Workshop now for these Saracens as well. I think Papayvit is making the right call in staying one town center here, because it's going to make it easier to afford units. He's sending a ridiculous amount of villagers forward. I think that... No. Okay, they're moving to the camps. I thought maybe he would. He had been collecting enough stone for a defensive castle, but he's been selling the stone for gold instead, it seems. Because 30 villagers placing a forward castle here might actually have worked against Bevin, because he doesn't really have that much army to defend. Then you'd have to task the Mangonels to hit the castle builders, and you'd have to... Or the crossbows, you'd have to make a decision as to what to go for. I think Levi might have queued Imperial Age here somewhere, because the resources dropped super quickly there. No, not really. Papaya equals low elo legend. I'm not sold on that. But he's lagging behind a little bit in this matchup specifically. But that's not Papayvit's fault. He's up against a stronger player by about 200 elo points. Fifth town center from Bevy. At this point you'd think he might be playing Burgundians and thinking about the revolution, but he just wants to extend that villager count into a comfortable, I can afford anything Mongols Imperial Age play. Barely made any military so far this game, and is at twice the villagers of Papayvit. Admittedly behind to the Imperial Age, so our ballast here for Papayvit could make a difference. It will allow Papayvit to take out the Mangonels because of the extra or the added range of Bracer. However, Papayvit also needs to deal with a defensive castle now, and he does not yet have a castle of his own to push the Mongols with trebuchets, even if the Imperial Age is well ahead of his opponent. So patiently waiting behind her, just now dropping the university, so we're still not going to have any ballistics for these ranged units. Bracer instantly in the Imperial Age, proper smart choice there, allows the allows the crossbows to outrange mangonels, and of course getting arbalest you're going to boost the stats in terms of hit points as well. Low elo friend doesn't pay to fly me in for the next semifinals. Don't you mean low eco friend then? Not low elo friend. So Papaypit has kept selling the stone here. I'm not sure if that's a great idea against the Mongols here, because selling stone for the market means that it's inevitably going to be cheaper for the Mongols to buy as well. So Vevi now with an additional castle here, he's been mining stone for them, but he could also buy more stone as he needs to. Don't think I've ever played a game with less farms. 2 farms. And these 2 farms are now being raided by Vevi's counterattack. I spoke of it earlier that Vevi could just sneak around at some point, and he's even wall off that side to just prevent the same thing happening to himself. Viewer says mad guilt. I suppose that's the technically correct term, yes. Fewer farms, not less. Blacksmith's actually researching Bodkin Airway for the Vevi. Could go down before it completes. It's dying relatively quickly to the Arbalest here, maybe it completes, but not going to get any breaks or any Imperial Age at least. 2 castles for Vevi, though 3 castles I mean. And Papaypit not a single one, he's just messing about with the Arbalests here, hoping to get inside Vevi's base to do some proper damage, but with Imperial Age kicking in and seeing the 3rd castle here, maybe that's Papaypit's sign to tap out and call it here, because he's more than 50 population behind. He's been relying solely on the market by the looks of it, since he's only seen 2 farms. And that's it. Imp into GG. But not for me, says Vevi. For Papaypit, 69% worker efficiency at the peak moment. Nice. Taking the win here against Papaypit, I guess we are going to have to expect that with the skill difference. But for the next Norway League starting late April-ish, I plan to make it a hidden cup, and then you could get away with wackier strategies, and we should be seeing some offsets and some surprises along the way. So I'll have someone organized for me. I will be playing myself as well, most likely, and casting my own games and trying to hide that I'm casting my own games. I've been successfully doing so in other hidden formats, so looking forward to that. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It is gonna be fun indeed. Yeah, 3 times the builders for Heavy, setting up for an Imperial Age domination there, obviously. He even got Onager, and he probably had drill in the making here, drill siege Onager maybe to chase the Arbalest of Papaypit, but yeah, needless to say, the military and economic situation here would be escalating out of proportions for Papaypit any second after Imperial Age kicking in here. But a GG it was.